hey, buy my blanket. Oh, look, it's so good. It's like a Snuggie, but it's not a Snuggie, and I made it by myself, and it's so good.
Rolling. As everyone sips their coffee.
What are your thoughts on French vanilla?
French vanilla?
The coffee flavoring.
I used to like, I think that was like the first coffee I ever tried, to be honest. And I don't know, I don't drink it today. Ever.
I'm a snob, man. Skip it. If it's like French vanilla as far as coffee, or just like French vanilla in general.
Not like as in coffee.
No flavors in coffee.
No, I'm not a flavored person. I'm not a fan of French vanilla either. But like the trend for a lot of different flavors has been going up lately. Like the Starbucks concept where it's all like you get one pump of that, one pump of this. Like I want one pump of
you
caramel.
Can mix.
Yeah. Like it's a lot.
I think I guess Starbucks had their holiday rollout yesterday.
Oh yeah, with the red cups.
Cups and everything. Becky was saying there are like grown men who are having breakdowns over like gingerbread lattes not coming back.
I would.
Okay.
But like some of the holiday flavors were caramel brulee.
Okay.
Some peppermint stuff. Like I don't know. It doesn't. None of that really excites me, so I don't pay attention to any of that.
I had a boss for a very short period of time. She would I went to go grab her coffee. I went to go grab myself coffee. I was like, "Oh, you want one?" She was like, "Yeah." And then she just like said it to me, and it was like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was the most ridiculous mix I've ever heard in my life. Like the amount of effort it took to even order this thing. It was like can I get one shot of blueberry, 2 shots of pecan, and then like
nice.
it just got deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole.
3.5 thimbles of this.
Yeah,
and it cost $15.
And 1.5 packets of sugar. Throw the other half of the packet out.
So I remember working for my Friday night job. Hey, actually, you know what? Tasting the coffee this morning, I think I'm getting like an Eric.
You're gonna get
Ghost. There's something in there.
I think the coffee's fine.
Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna complain. But anyways, working my Friday night job. I remember one time I was gonna be late, and I was like, you know what? Nobody's gonna be mad at me if I show up with coffee.
Yeah, right.
So I called everybody. I was like, hey, if anybody wants coffee, you text me an order. So sure enough, they texted me the order. I didn't even read it. I was just gonna show the girl and be like, hey, you know, you just do this thing.
Yeah, can you make this happen?
I start looking through it. It's like a medium regular dark roast with a turbo, large regular.
That just got really expensive. Gonna be like $7 a cup.
No, it wasn't even bad. Like, see, my brain didn't even go to money. Like, what's the extra $1 for the turbo shot?
When you got to get 12 of them.
Wait for it. Well, there's only 5 of us.
Okay,
so
right.
I mean,
fair enough.
Really, how
I pictured. You said all of us, so I thought that was like a bunch of people.
All right, so like the coffee order was like medium regular dark roast with a turbo shot, another medium regular dark roast, like a large regular, and a large extra caramel something, 2 pumps mocha. Like seriously, it was like the most complicated and like I mean, I hope I don't offend anybody. That was the gayest coffee I've ever like had to order in my life.
Wow.
Well, these are grown men. Like,
I don't understand how. Okay, side note. I don't understand how it's gay to order a mocha coffee with, like, I don't see how that's, like, just let the guy enjoy this coffee. Like, I don't get the point.
Hey, but the kicker was the whole time, like, I mean, I was speculating having to do it, and I felt kind of weird, so I was a little embarrassed for having to, like, speak that out and, like, order that.
That's your, like, equivalent to going to buy tampons at the store.
That's what it felt. Honestly, that's what it felt like.
I feel like you have a deep-seated psychological issue that you need to address if you can't order a mocha coffee.
Guy, 2 pumps mocha, extra caramel, something. Dude, it was really intense. So I bring the coffees to work, and I start showing up. Hey, the biggest, baddest dude on the floor is like, oh, thank you for the coffee. It's like, listen, guy, don't ever ask me to order you a coffee again.
Listen,
if it's not just like cowboy bean water, like strained through like a dirty sock, I'm not ordering it for you.
Jeez,
I'm not.
That's fair enough. I'm not asking. Anyway,
sorry, that was my therapy session this morning.
So I mean, I'm gonna throw myself out there on this one. So there's a coffee franchise. I don't even know if it's a franchise. Mary Lou's nearby. like not near here.
Oh,
but
there's soon to be a franchise. Yeah.
yeah. So I used to go there a lot, and that would be like I wouldn't call it coffee though. It'd be dessert,
Yeah.
even though there's like coffee in there somewhere. But it was literally like just like a drink with like a lot of whipped cream on top, and it was really just a dessert thing for me. So I used to drink that. There you go, Tyler.
That's fun. Well, like,
Fun
but if that's like their thing and you just order it and that's like that's what you're like, it's known to go and get.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
But at the same time, like if you could just get like a regular coffee or like an espresso or something, and it's like, no, I need iced caramel, extra, 3 pumps, no this, more that.
This is turning into the same conversation as the shoes, where it's all like, you can't do your coffee the way that you want to do it.
Oh my
Like
God.
you have to do it like this, where it's all like I like this conversation where it's all like, if there's a place dedicated to sweet coffees, that's fine. You could buy those, but you can't go to Dunkin' Donuts and buy a sweet coffee. Like I don't understand your logic. Like here, you're like you got a problem. You're not a man if you don't suffer while you drink your coffee.
Listen,
It's like,
listen. I never claimed to be perfect. I wonder if there's anybody who's done like a psychological study though, like some kind of like paper on like the psychological profiles of like how people order their coffee. And I honestly wonder if people have studied it and like more or less like you could typographize. Yeah, making that word up. But you could like, okay, somebody orders a certain type of coffee, be like, okay, well, they would fall into one of these categories generally, like generalization.
You might do that
based
for
on
a lot of things,
Yeah.
not just
on what you
coffee,
order
yeah.
for coffee.
I'm sure that there has been studies like that.
Yeah, there's been studies on everything. I wonder if there has been. That'd be good.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to look into that so that I redeem. And listen, I'm not.
So that I redeem myself.
I'm not trying to have anybody offended. Like if you're gay and you don't like sweet coffee, that's cool. If you're not gay and you like sweet coffee, it's all good. We cool.
That completely contradicts the statement you said at the beginning.
I'm just not ordering it.
Fair enough. Tyler's not ordering any coffee like that.
Nonetheless.
I feel like it's emasculating to order like such a.
Why is it emasculating to order a mocha coffee?
I don't know.
You got a problem, bro.
Listen. On payroll, go send me to a psychiatrist and we'll figure this out.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be good.
You have like this.
Can we vlog the whole thing?
Yeah, there's like some deep-seated like event.
I think
in your
it's
life.
gay to order an extra caramel swirl coffee.
They'd just turn you away at that point. They'd be like, "Listen, that's not. This is obviously
What
not
kind of childhood memories am I repressing?
Probably a lot. There's probably like we joke around. There's probably a lot that's going on there.
Nah.
Nonetheless,
I'm just playing too. That's a stereotype. Obviously, like I ordered the guy the coffee, and I wouldn't hesitate to order one. I would never drink it. Oh
Yeah.
my god, no.
No, I mean, that's just diabetes in the cup. As for
Yeah,
as a personal
Yeah, no,
choice, that's a
absolutely,
lot of sugar. And even I cut off my dessert coffees because of that.
I'm even like, well, all right. So my one guilty dessert coffee, s'mores frappuccino. Hey, that's where it's at.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
enough.
That sounds pretty good.
that's okay to order.
Yeah, that's
That's
That's it. S'mores frappuccino.
as long as you don't say extra pumps on anything.
Yeah,
it's fine.
that's the line. Like, you can't order extra pumps. That's it. My boss used to order extra large, extra extras, which is just an absurd amount of cream.
That's
and
an absurd amount of
sugar.
saying extra and anything.
Yeah.
You shouldn't say extra that many
Extra
times on
large,
anything.
extra. That's America in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Is that-
Yeah, fair enough. Can I get that card extra large, extra?
Yeah.
It's but it's funny. The older I get, the more I try to go away from like even as far as milk or something. Like my number one jam right now, espresso macchiato. 2 shots of espresso with a little dollop of foam on top. That's it. It's like that would be my preferred way of drinking coffee.
Yeah, no, I'm not at that level. I need
I like
sugar and I need my cream.
Yeah, I like espressos, but not like
Oh yeah.
fanatically. That's why I didn't buy like an exuberant.
Yeah, fair enough. I like it just enough to have a machine in my house.
Yeah, but not enough to spend $3,000 on a machine
But
like
That's
that.
fair.
But I think it's like I don't know if it's not unhealthy, but it gets to the point where like I even taste like the notes within the coffee, and it's like
it's almost like it's like wine tasting, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean? Where it's
yeah.
like it
it's
becomes.
that far. It's
more
like, oh,
of a
this
hobby.
bourbon has ginger notes in it, and it tastes kind of smoky and nutty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't gone into pour over coffee yet.
I mean, French press is pretty much the same.
Fair. Do you have a French press?
Yeah.
Oh, the little heaty one. I thought what's the one where you pull shots manually?
Oh.
Like there's like it's like a physically manual.
Listen,
no idea.
listen. If I had the
Everybody-
budget to be buying all these little machines, you better believe it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Do you know that there's art? It's funny. It's random, but you said like you could taste the different nodes and stuff.
Yeah.
There are professional taste testers.
Yeah.
Like that are like I saw a video. There was like these two women, and they would like they were like breaking down. I think it was like they just gave them a bunch of stuff, and they literally would take a bite, just one bite, and they would break down every ingredient in this piece of food. And I think that's just like the amount of training that goes into that, like and time. Like, jeez, like that is quite impressive. Like that.
Yeah. Not only the flavors, like the interactions between the flavors. Like you can tell, like the
science and everything between it.
Yeah. Well, think about like people like sommeliers, people who understand wine at that level. It's like that's something.
Yeah, that's like next level stuff. It's actually pretty big on YouTube now. Like a Bon Appetit's like test kitchen made a YouTube channel, and now it's like everywhere. Like they have like a bunch of different of their like chefs. All they do is figure out recipes for different things, and then I guess the business model is the website Bon Appetit sells ads on their recipes or something along those lines.
Fair enough,
I guess that's the business model.
Yeah.
So now they have a YouTube channel, and now they're making a bunch of like stuff, and like there's this one they like recreate products. So like one of their chefs made Starbursts.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's a girl who does all the pastry ones. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Or like all the desserts like that. Yeah, that's actually really cool, fun to watch. I watch that all the
It'd
time.
be kind of interesting to be like a chef professionally, but not like in a restaurant. Like you just go to
like
work.
a personal chef. Someone's
Well, not like a personal chef, but like what these guys do, where they're in a test kitchen where they just make recipes.
Yeah, it's like I have to recreate Starburst.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be it. That's like our equivalent if we were all like in that industry.
Yeah,
that's what we would do.
Yeah,
Just
like we don't want to work for anybody. We just kind of want to do stuff that we want to do and get paid for it.
Yeah,
How do you
make a
Twinkie? Yeah. Basically. That's one of those things. It's interesting. Like you can make money doing anything on YouTube now. Like if you have like a brand, that's it. You're all set. You have a niche product.
Shout out to that guy that you got me on that you showed me yesterday on YouTube. What's his name? The dude with the Lamborghinos.
Lamborghinos.
You said it's
RDB.
Vic?
Well, Vic is his name, but it's RDBLA.
Yeah, this guy, I never got into it before, but I saw his video and I was just like legitimately like proud of somebody that I never met before. Like you could tell like he came from a place where he was just like he just loves what he does. And he figured out a way how to get to the top level of it. Like he gets to work on like these very amazing supercars for very like wealthy people, and he's not even in a Lamborghini dealership. Like he's in his own shop, and just to be at that level, and like I could just see the amount of work he's put into that, and watching him like now reap those fruits. It's just really proud. Like it's a proud moment. It was weird because I don't know him, but I still felt that for him. It was cool. Really cool.
Reminder: I got a magazine for you, Car and Driver.
Okay,
it's a good one.
Nice, thank you.
Boom, there you go. And there's our sponsor spot right there, Car and Driver. Give us a call.
That would be nice.
All right, 1 minute 45. What do we?
But that actually ties into the concept that we're trying to talk about today, which is like you don't have to be better than everybody else. You just have to be better than who you were yesterday. And like those like grassroots pull up by your bootstraps type of like stories are like this guy started. He was an immigrant. He came to this country. His parents were immigrants.
Oh, see, I didn't even know this part. I could just tell like this dude put on a lot of work. But
yeah,
continue.
I think he's Armenian or something along those lines, or Persian, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
He came to the country and then he just started working on cars since he was young, and then like now he's at the point where he deals with like the very brand new supercars, and it's awesome to be an independent person. It's like it takes a lot of hard work. It's not something that's very easily accomplished, but it's like if you wake up every single day and you say I'm gonna be better than what I was yesterday.
Right. I started on extra, and I'm almost there.
Now I'm in full suffering when I drink my coffee. I start crying even before I brew.
Because I'm a man.
Yeah.
That's too funny. All right, we'll be back.
Stay tuned.
We would like to thank Anchor for sponsoring and hosting the Life podcast. So who are Anchor and what do they do? Anchor is the all-in-one platform that gives you everything you need to make and publish your podcast. And best of all, it's all free. Anchor allows you to use their creative tools to record and edit your podcast. No need for any fancy professional equipment. Sounds amazing, right? And we haven't even gotten to the best part. Anchor isn't just a recording and editing platform. They're a publisher too. This means that Anchor takes care of all of the hard stuff, like publishing to Apple and Google Podcasts, so you don't have to. So what are you waiting for? Download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Another thanks to Anchor for hosting, publishing, and sponsoring the Life podcast.
So we're talking about this concept of being better than you were yesterday. So like theoretically, let's talk about this. So the whole concept is a quote, and it's a quote from an old TV show. I don't know if it originated on the TV show.
Gunsmoke,
but
F Troop,
no,
Andy Griffith.
No, MASH.
You were close. You were really
I was
close.
actually getting pretty close.
Yeah, you were right in the same time zone. That's
So
good.
I've watched copious amounts of MASH.
yeah, it's a pretty good show. It's legit. It's too big a world to be in competition with everybody else. The only guy I have to be better than is who I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a life concept. Does anyone have any starting comments on that one?
It's so huge. I think that a lot of people end up competing with the wrong people, and you end up cooking yourself in a weird way, because you end up taking, especially at first, if you're competing with everyone else, you have to. There are some business models of people that I know and that I've worked with that are very cutthroat.
Yeah.
Where I've had the conversation with them and they won't even like. It's all about my business and I'll take away your customers and all this, and it's just like it's a very aggressive stance, and it turned me off from like working with this person, because I don't want to work with that type of relationship, because apparently you're just gonna take my customers too.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Cut everybody's throat. Talk about that client that I've been procuring, and I was giving a little bit of advice to. He's like, oh, I'm gonna do market research for this, and whatever the perfect archetype of who I am, like what's the biggest booming section of the market, that's whatever I'm gonna jump into. I wrote him an email back and I told him, listen, like you're you, and you can't reproduce something that you're not. You won't be able to maintain that, sustain that. Mm-hmm. And people just won't find you genuine if you're just shooting for whatever's hot, whatever's popular, whatever's big, and cutting everybody's throat to try to jump into that segment. It's like, be you, and people are gonna buy that.
Yeah, and that's so important, and especially now, because a lot of people aren't even buying into like logos and stuff. Like the brand has changed, branding has changed in a lot of ways, where it's a very authentic, personal relationship.
You guys ever get these emails, or you see like these startups that are like fly by night startups, and they have like the most they'll have a cheesy website with all kinds of buttons and banners and click now, time is running out, and like it has all like the time clocks running down. It's like,
don't ever click that.
$1,000 system, yours today for $99.99. It's only like for a day left if you don't subscribe now.
Yeah, and then Best Buy is just like, yeah, we have that same TV. It's $20 more, but you know who we are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna go to Best Buy and I'm gonna get it over there.
Well, they try to make it like all like new and fancy and like good looking, but this is the cheesiest website I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and you're just trying to cut everybody's throat to compete with whoever with a sense of urgency, rather than just like building a reputation.
Yeah, and that's huge. And that's what brands are right now. It's like you have to build a reputation. It's very personal. People want to have conversations on like online social media, on Twitter. Like people are having like Twitter ended up being like a super station for like business interactions with their clients, where they're able to easily respond to messages like, oh, I have an issue with this, and like Twitter became like a tech support in a way for businesses. And that just having that interaction, people love it. Going in that route, you have to like, this is how we have to do for our own. It's even more so for a personal brand. If you're a freelancer, or if you're just a small business owner, you have to be very personal, because there's no reason for like, okay, we always go back to chairs. I don't know why, but I'm going to go with it again. So you make chairs professionally in your own shop, right? But you're not a good guy, and you're kind of just mean to all your customers. Like, what's stopping me from just going to Home Depot and buying a chair, or wherever, I don't know if they got chairs, but buying a chair.
Chairs are sold.
Wherever chairs are sold, then going over there and giving my money to somebody that like actually cares.
Yeah.
You know, so this whole idea of like you're in competition with the wrong people. You have to be better than yourself in order to improve your, like, you have to make the best chairs, and you have to love doing it, and you have to improve in that for people to want to give you their money.
Absolutely. There was a time where the goal of companies was to be faceless.
Yes.
The goal was everybody's a mom and pop shop, and it's interesting and it's new and it's fresh to be a faceless organization. And like the Sears and Roebuck with like the order from a book and you never have to speak to anyone level of just like here you go, you call this number, you place this order, and that's it, and it's done.
Yep.
That was very interesting for a time, and that was a very like
That was the way to go. Yeah.
But now it's all like, if you're a company and like one of your board of directors, people on your board of directors does something wrong, you lose thousands of dollars in sales. And it's like, well, I can't trust the company now, because it's like, before it was like, do I trust this product? Yes. Okay. I'm going to buy it. Now it's like the entity as a whole. Do I trust Amazon? What is Amazon doing? Is Amazon cutting down rainforests? So like, I like the rainforest and I don't like Amazon now, so I'm never going to buy anything from Amazon. That type of interaction wasn't a thing before, where it was all like, okay, like, I don't like Jeffrey down the street and his bait and tackle shop, but I need bait and tackle supplies. So I don't like Jeffrey, but I don't need to like Jeffrey to buy the bait and tackle stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's very personal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's really where business has gone. And a lot of people are still stuck in the old mentality, or they're just coming into business and everything they've learned about business is I have to cut everyone's throat in order for me to survive. It's just the wrong way to go.
Yeah, you're talking about Twitter. You know, it's like kind of disgusting too. Like a really bad business practice. I detest it personally. Is like using your fan base or using your clients to like prostituting them to self promote. You'll see it a lot on Facebook or like Twitter or whatever. It's like, oh, enter this contest where you can win this, like, I don't know, say like win this guitar. Or win this chair. Enter a contest to win the chair. All you have to do is like, share, subscribe, and the more times you share on social media platforms,
the better your chances
your chances are doing. So do it. Hurry now. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
It worked when it started. Now it's just spam.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like, that's the thing is, and that's another thing too, is like a lot of people keep doing the wrong things because like they saw it, like it worked like 3 years ago, but 3 years is a long time when it comes to any type of human interaction. You know what I mean? So a lot of people still get stuck on that old thing where, oh, if we just tag 1,000 people in it, then 1,000 people will see it.
Yeah.
No, 1,000 people are gonna be angry that they got tagged in this stupid post. You know, and so it's a lot of people are still doing the old ways. They haven't evolved. Well, I don't even know if it's like evolved, but they haven't learned really.
Yeah, they don't pivot.
They don't pivot, yes, and like they just kind of stay fixed in their access, you know, and then the world keeps moving around, and then they kind of don't realize why can't my business grow? Why am I stuck here? Why can't I start the business?
Well, I'm not saying that share thing, like, oh, like email 20 of your friends and you get 20 more entries. I'm not saying that doesn't work because you get the personal reach, but at the same time, that's like a sleazy, scummy way. It's like,
absolutely, yeah, you're. Like, people get mad at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would.
I was watching it. I didn't even like, share or anything. I just looked at this and I was like, this is so like
the price not even worth it for me.
Yeah, right. This is so sleazy. Like, if I like your page and get one entry, if that one entry doesn't win for me because I just hit like, good enough.
I think that's a byproduct of people trying to be somebody else. You know, and not being yourself. When you're being yourself in your own business, it shows, and it really just outshines. And you're coming up with things that other people haven't never done before, or it's rare to see. But when you're just trying to succeed by copying other people's business plans or business tactics, like that idea, you know what I mean? You saw someone else do it. Oh, perfect! I have this old PlayStation that I never used, that I never opened the box. I'm gonna give it away.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you just do that, just like, oh, I know how I'm gonna get my click counts up, and it's just like this really artificial way to do it, where it's like, oh, this one post has 100 likes, but every other post I have has 3. You know,
it kind of shows that you're really insecure in your business model.
Absolutely.
If you have to play around like that,
absolutely.
or like you're insecure in your product.
Yeah.
You also water down your brand because
absolutely.
Everybody thinks that everything is so simple. So like we as people think, oh, that ad campaign was a very simple project. When it's all like, no, this ad campaign took a month before it started happening, and then there's people in charge of dealing with how it interacts with people, dealing with the sales, dealing with all that stuff, and then somebody else from the outside says, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that same ad campaign today. And then it's like you have none of the structure in place, you have none of the planning in place, and then you water down your brand and you seem shaky or shady to people who are looking on.
And you could blow this up to the biggest scale you can imagine. Even Apple. You know, like I don't know if this is completely true, but it's something that always stuck with me. It was like with their logo, and the logo is the apple with the bite in it, and the bite is supposed to represent that everyone else is a biter of their stuff. Like they are the innovators, and everyone else bites at that stuff and recreates their own version of it. But that's like on the grandest scale of it all, where like a company like Apple, you'll never see them try to copy any other, and that's what they're known for. Like they always innovate something new, and then you see your Google phones that try to imitate their newest phone. All of a sudden, you see other phones come out with that triangle, little square thing on it. That wasn't a thing before the first original. So you're either in this world of business, you're either competing with yourself or you're competing with other people, and the most successful are competing with themselves.
And you also, when you compete with yourself, you refuse to do things that other companies will do or other people will do. Like Apple doesn't do sales. Like when
they don't need to.
They don't need to. Like the biggest sale that Apple will do is giving a product away with another product. That's the only thing that they'll do. And the reason why they do it is because it's like, listen, if we give a sale, from now on you're going to think, oh, I'll just wait until it's on sale again.
Yep.
And that destroys your brand. And it's like, if you're a luxury brand, you can't be playing in that field. It's like, why do you think every single time you go look at a Chromebook, it's 50% off or 30% off? It's because, like, people don't want it.
Shots fired.
Well, no, it's true. It's just like, listen, it is. It's like, that's your
absolutely.
brand. That's what you perpetuated. Now, why am I going to pay full price if I know next week it's going to be on sale?
There are things that we do today, like that I would like, oh, no, I'm not going to buy that now. I know it's going to be a 50% off in the next few months. I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Okay. I just did that, and I got 40% off.
Boom. Like, I do it all the time. You know, why am I going to pay full price if I know this is going to drop down eventually? If I just wait it out, I don't need it now.
A lot of people like instant gratification, too. It's like, oh, I might have to wait an undetermined period of time within 3 to 6 months, and then maybe it will go on sale.
Yeah.
Well, that's self-control, and that's also like a self-brand thing.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, like, you translate who you are in your business, whether you realize it or not. And so it's important to translate who you truly are. Because I've made the mistake where I created a brand where it was like a logo thing, and it took a lot of effort to maintain what that brand was meant to be. Because at the time when it was first created, it was who I was in a way, at least who I thought I was, all the facades and all that
Absolutely.
stuff. So I created this company around that, and then I over time became who I really was, and that company became more and more difficult to maintain.
Wow.
Because I had to pretend to be somebody in order to make that happen. And what ends up happening is the business will eventually fall off the face of the earth, and you pretend like you never did it.
Yeah.
You know, but that is something that happens when we try to put up a fake image, because you have to maintain that. And at first, no big deal. I can maintain this, no problem. But it gets very costly when you're talking the long game. It's very costly to keep maintaining it and remembering. If you have to remember what it is that it stood for, then it's not really real.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be, it's just a part of who you are.
Oh, that's so crazy that you said that. So I sent an email to that potential client yesterday, and I'd like to share a piece of that email with you guys. I talked about 2 points that came to us when we started the studio. If you like the content you're producing, the content and the aesthetic of the content, there will be other people who like it too. Not worry about like, oh, new trend, or this looks like Apple, this looks like so and so. If you like it, if you're happy with it, I'm sure other people will be happy with it too. And the second point was you attract what you are, and you can't reproduce what you're not.
Exactly.
Looking for like this archetype. It's like you can look for this archetype of your product, but unless it's an extension of you, then it doesn't matter. The next paragraph I said, so essentially your target audience is in some way or another an extension of who you are, and it will be really hard and unfulfilling if you have to pretend to be something you're not when captivating an audience. Not to mention virtually unsustainable. People are looking for real, authentic, genuine, and consistent.
Absolutely. And it's very draining for you, like on a mental basis too.
It is. And it's like, it's something that you have to actively participate in. And when you start getting away from who you are as a person, that's when it becomes more and more stressful. Where it's all like, if the first, like, let's say you make a website and you spend 6 months developing that website, and then you sell websites, and you say, I can do this now in 2 weeks. That's not. You can't do it. Like, sometimes we stretch so far to try to achieve something, and it's like, technically you can achieve this thing, but you can't achieve it in a reasonable amount of time. You try to be bigger than you actually are, or you try to appear bigger than you actually are. And that's what happens when it's all like, okay, I don't know anything about music necessarily. If I'm going to go start a music job, everybody who comes in is going to know more than I do. And it's like, that's not an extension of me. You know, you might learn on the job, but other than that, you're not really applying anything. You're not helping anybody. You're not doing anything, or you're not
Absolutely.
doing what you set out to achieve.
Or I mean, even if you're a musician, say you want to give like music lessons, but then you put off this appearance that you know more than who you are. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, when people come and sit down with you, it's like, well, you're gonna find out
It'd be
real
awkward.
quick that I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
be
I'm not
real
who
awkward.
I perpetuated I was. Oh, but we can both follow this book together.
Yeah, I
We could
bought this
both learn.
book so we could do this. Yeah. Anyways, but another thing to remember while Tyler was explaining that it's and this is just kind of like a tip from my perspective. If you are going into this and you're doing this, maybe this will help somebody. It's really easy. Well, okay, how do I word this? It's much harder to change who you attract. You know, if you have to, like, the things that you do, and if you like it and somebody else will, that is 100% true. And you have to embrace that. Sometimes you're working on something and it attracts somebody and it wasn't the demographic you thought it was going to attract. And you can't necessarily, well, you can, but it takes a lot more effort, a lot more strength, and a lot more patience in order to change those things. But if you just embrace who you do attract,
Right.
and then you gather those statistics. It's really good to gather statistics on everything. So that's my that's the tip right there. Gather statistics on who you're actually attracting.
After, yeah, right. But make sure that you build your brand first. You build who you are, and you do it out of an authentic and genuine place.
Exactly.
And then get statistics, not statistics first. Oh, this market is what might be hungry for this, so I have to try to shoot to meet them.
Exactly. So do what you do best, and then as the product rolls out, you'll start to see who is actually attracted to what you're making, and that's how you build an authentic brand. It's not like, oh, I'm going to change who I am so I can reach 18-year-olds that go to this particular place at this particular you can't necessarily determine that what you're going to create is going to attract those people and
exactly.
actually enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to be conforming what you're doing to attract to those people. So it's very important to just keep your mind in that place, and you're gathering statistics and just embracing who you're attracting.
There you go.
So we're gonna take a quick little break, and we'll be right back after this ad.
Stay tuned.
In a world where three people's lives come together to change the lives of whoever is willing to listen, and now coming to YouTube.
Wait, we have YouTube? I'm not subscribed.
What do you mean you're not subscribed?
Well, I didn't know.
You're a part of the show.
I didn't know I was supposed to subscribe.
Next, you're going to tell me that you're not following us on social media.
We have a social media?
Dude!
Subscribe.
Go ahead. But he wanted to do like market research to just like find like that target audience or whatever. And
Well, online business is interesting because online business it's very hard to have the intimate face-to-face interaction with the people you're trying to reach.
so even more so, you have to be genuine.
So-
Because people look at you and be like, wow, this guy's just like this
So
fake piece
yeah,
of crap.
you for that, like in this particular thing, I just want to say, like, if he is listening, and if he's not, then it is what it is. But if he is listening, you have to go in with like the only thing I recommend you pre-planning is understanding the level of people you're trying to attract. Is it beginners? Is it people who have already picked up a guitar, or is it people who have already played for a while but they're looking to pick up more skills?
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't try to attract all of them at once at first.
Yes.
Pick one, perfect that, and then as you grow on and that first catalog is strong and built, then you can move on to try to attract a little bit more. But don't go for all at once, because then it's going to be a very choppy way for you to do it, and a lot of people who are learning will suffer because they won't know what order you're going in.
Absolutely. Focus in on one thing, because as soon as you start looking at multiple different avenues of things, you start segmenting your attention. You know, where it's like if you have one project, if you're doing project A, you can devote 100% of your working effort to project A. If you start divvying it up into 4 or 5 different things, you now have 20 to 25% attention for each one of those things at best. You know, because everybody says, "Oh, well, I'll have 4 different things, but I'll devote 100% of my attention to each one at each time." And it's like that's not how it works, because if you have a deadline for A and then you're supposed to be working on C, you end up working on A and then C falls behind, and then it just causes this issue to happen, and everything suffers.
You have to compete with yourself, which means you have to understand what your level of quality is, or where your lines are. You know, if you're a single person business, you have to look at it as like, I am a single person, so I could do one thing at a time. You know, and you can't be competing. Well, this other company, they're able to pull out like 7 things all in one. They roll out 7 things a week, and it's like, okay, well, they have a much larger team in place, and they're competing with themselves. You can't compare yourself to their team. You have to understand where you're at. You're a 1-man team or a 2-person team, so you have to keep it aligned with that, so you don't burn yourself, and you don't because what ends up happening is what Benji said, is like you put 20% here, 20% there, 20% there, and then 40% here because you still have to go to sleep and eat. And then before you know it, it's like, oh well, I finished everything, or I didn't finish everything, and either way, it's like, it's not what I wanted it to be.
And don't compromise the vision. If you are building something, make sure you're building it for you. This is the biggest issue that a lot of people have with building a brand or building a business, is like, I'm building this thing to fit this need of this person. So like, okay, that's great, but why are you doing it? Like specifically for you. Like if you don't have an internal reason, if I'm gonna go make guitars, it's solely for cash benefit. Like, I don't care about guitars because I'm not a musician. Like, I think they're beautiful instruments, but it doesn't help me in any way. So there's no skin in the game for me. It's just an enterprise. And if you look at your business projects like that, you start to make concessions that you wouldn't do if you actually loved the product. Like, it's like, if I'm building guitars and I don't like guitars or I don't care about guitars, I'm going to say, that scuff is fine. That string's not tight in the best way, but it is what it is. It's like, and that starts to show to people who actually know what they're seeing. And it just looks like you're just some like fly-by-night operation.
And I mean, that even translates into like business too. Like when you're managing your media or whatever it is, like you can see that level of apathy. Like somebody who's an actual business person looks at your business model or the things that you're putting out, and it's like, no, you really you really don't care. Like now you're sloppy. Now you're tired. Now you're this. Now you're that.
And there's a place for everything. Like, there is a place in someone's career where they become an entrepreneur, when you have the cash flow, when you have the money, you're able to invest in, like, oh, I don't really know much about guitars, but there's this good business venture, a good opportunity here where if I make guitars, I can make a good profit back. I'm not going to make the guitars, but I'm going to fund it, and I'm going to find somebody who really loves making guitars to take control of it. And I'm just going to be the owner. And that's where the line is, but that comes down the road. A lot of people start there. They're like, oh, no, I don't know anything about guitars, but I'm sure I could figure it out and make one and then make 1,000 of them and then sell them. Like, and this is where I'm going to start. But what usually happens is you get burnt out because you never really had your heart in it. Because you need your heart into your business. You need that. If you don't love what you're doing, then it's really hard to do it. It's hard to wake up in the morning when you don't love to wake up in the morning because you don't love what you're about to do all day.
If the product is not an end result of passion, and just a paycheck, then it's not worth it.
And the quality shows.
And
the quality show. It's like if we're using the concept of chairs. If you're just building chairs to build chairs, they're gonna be trash chairs. Like, they're gonna be wobbly and everything.
You're not gonna care. You're not gonna, like, oh, it's a little wobbly. It's fine. I'll fix that later. And then you just move forward. But you never come back to fix it later because you never really liked it anyways.
Problem for future me.
Yeah, problem for future me. And then all of a sudden you're just selling wobbly chairs to people and telling them it's brand new.
And every set of chairs, like 4 different size chairs.
Oh, don't worry. Included in your purchase is these free stack of papers that'll keep it from wobbling.
Free folded in half coaster with every purchase.
Absolutely. And it's sad, and it's like, we joke around about this, and it's obviously usually not this extreme, but you could tell when companies are just like, they're tired. They're like, the owner didn't do this because they wanted to, or they got so caught up following the money that I've seen so many people who started a company they truly genuinely enjoyed, an offshoot showed up, and then they chased the offshoot because of the money, and they're doing extremely well monetarily, but they hate their job and they hate the company that they've built because it's not the company they wanted to build.
Absolutely. Another tip. Most businesses today are in some way, shape, or form a service type of business where you will have to talk to people.
Almost everything is a service.
Yeah. So if you don't like people, really reconsider starting your own business because you really need to be a people person for this type of industry. Because you're going to be not only trying to convince people to buy your product, but you're going to have to be working with people to get like the supplies to make your product, and you have to, there's a lot of negotiations that are going to happen. And I'm not saying if you don't like talking to people, don't start a business. I'm saying that you might want to start focusing in on learning how to talk to people better, or look into bringing somebody in who is good at talking to people, because sometimes you just need those kind of pieces in your team. But understanding where your strengths are huge, because and on the counter side of that, once you understand your strengths, you understand your weaknesses, and you have to be aware of them. And I'm not saying, like, don't work on your weaknesses. No, you have to just understand where they are, and be able to move around that so that you don't keep yourself locked up.
Interestingly enough, I've also seen brands where the person just doesn't interact with the customers at all, and the customers like that, as long as it's genuine. If it's all like, I only have to interact with you when I need to interact with you, like I've seen like artisanal people where it's all like they make like blankets or whatever.
Yeah, but their product's so good that it stands
Exactly.
it stands for itself.
Exactly. Because they don't compromise on the business aspect. They only focus on the product, where it's like, listen, you want this thing or not? It's all like they're at trade shows and they're like, how much is this thing? It's like, it's marked. And it's like, that's it. Like, that's their interaction. But they're selling like $300-$400 blankets and they're moving.
Not like, hey, buy my blanket. Oh, look, it's so good. It's like a Snuggie, but it's not a Snuggie, and I made it by myself, and that's it. It's so good.
But there's nothing wrong with that as long as that's your personality. Like, if that's your personality, great.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
if you're selling it up, you're going to destroy your brand. Then you're going to destroy your character, because then you get into this concept is like everybody has like this, like there's this big issue with like multiple personality disorders now, where it's all like, if that's what you do all day, if you get home, if you wake up in the morning and you have to put on this facade and you're like, buy my blankets, it's so amazing. Like, and you're just like internally, you're just like, I hate my life. I hate my life.
Yeah.
It's all like, how are you supposed to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Benji and I talked about it for a long time. It's like, dude, I could never. Well, I mean, I realize now that I can sell things actually pretty well, but it's a different type of sales. I thought a salesperson was one way, and I'm like, I cannot sell something that I don't believe in, something that I can't stand behind. I can't, like, there's people who can sell sand to a camel in the desert. There are just people who can
do that.
who can do that stuff, and I fall more on the line of like, hey, you want it or not?
Yeah.
Hey, this thing kind of sucks, but like,
Just
if you're into it here, you can buy it.
The best salesman on today is just somebody who's able to answer the questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the people are you're gonna know what they want to know, and because they're gonna ask you, and as long as you have an answer and that's legit, then you're fine.
Yeah.
You could sell anything.
We were talking to a client about a quote that they wanted to do for a new system that they're implementing, and we were having a conversation, and I used the term, we'll get you a quote and up to the point of installation, because I'm not going to be drilling drills. I said the phrase drilling drills, and I was like, and I just kept going, and everybody just stopped. And was like, did you just say drilling drills? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not. And one of the managers like, you're not going to get up on a ladder and put up the. I was like, no, guy, that's not my business.
Not milking ponies.
Yeah, and it was like, if you're genuine with a client like that, and you're just like, listen, like, I don't want to milk you for every single dollar that you have. It's like, I want to fulfill this one need that I know how to fulfill, and that's it. And it's like, take care of everything else. Like, get somebody else to do the other parts. That makes you seem like it shows
legit.
that you're legit.
You talk about your shortcomings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we could have gone in there and been like, oh, guy, we got this whole thing. We'll take the whole and then it's like, yep, okay. And it's like, how many people do you see as like, just as like from experience, like when my parents owned like the stores, salesmen would come in and they'd sell you the world. Like they'd talk it all up.
Like we said, sand to a camel.
Exactly. And it's all like, now can you fulfill on that process? And it's like saying like, no, I actually can't do this thing. I don't know how to do this thing. Makes you more genuine.
It goes so
to
much
fulfill.
farther. Like honesty. That's all that is. It's just being honest
genuine.
and genuine with who you are. Go ahead.
No, you should.
Yeah, I was gonna say another, like, people always ask like someone like Gary Vee, like, how does he work 18 hours a day and then like and be able to do that on a regular basis? It's because he truly loves who he is, and he is who he is all day. He doesn't have to pretend to be anybody, and that's something that people love to do. And what I was gonna say is, like, when you go, it's the same concept of like going into like a working environment, someone else's working environment. This is why it's so important to look into like the company culture. Does the company that I was with for the longest point of my life, it for a long time until I left, allowed me to be who I was on the clock. I didn't have to put on a facade or pretend to be somebody. Like, didn't have to put it on this fake selling face in order to make somebody happy. You know what I mean? Because in those type of environments, it doesn't allow me to be myself. So I don't want to go to work. I don't want to be there for 8 hours, or let alone any other time of the day. So when you feel those kind of things, it's usually like you have to look for the places that allow you to be who you are. That's why it's so important when you're in the interview process, asking the right questions about the business and about the company you're about to work for. So, and trying to figure out, is it something that I can actually fit into, or do I have to change who I am in order to meet your your expectations.
Backing up, you're talking about corporate structure and being genuine. We said, like, if you have a product and you're genuine with it, then obviously it's going to go forward. If you're starting a business venture and you want, like, and you have these expectations for it, or you have these heights, you have this vision, be prepared to grow and be prepared to not do it all by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing too.
Yeah. Yes. Especially like if you start off alone, you think you have to end alone. And it's like not even close to true.
Yeah.
You start off alone because there's no other options. But like the goal is to be as hands off as possible.
That's it. And you can't. I mean, even if you can wear every hat, you can't wear every hat at once.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's right.
And you gotta grind. It's not. It's like everybody. This becomes like this big thing, and I see this a lot where it's all like, oh, everybody says just work harder, just do better, and everything will be okay. And it's genuinely like I don't understand like that mentality of that's all you can do. It's like grow. Like you gotta work hard. Yeah, it's tough. You gotta wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You gotta do it. And it's like you gotta try. It's not like you can't wake up at 9 a.m. and go to sleep at 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whatever it is, and then expect to grow larger than what you are right now.
Yeah, and if you're not competing with the one person that matters, it's yourself.
Yep.
You know, and then you're just kind of chasing, fake fires all day, and you're trying to like, oh, this person's doing this and that person's doing that, and all day you spend most of the day watching videos of how other people do things instead of just doing it yourself.
Yep. At the end of the day, just do stuff. Like, be better than you were yesterday. What did you do yesterday? What did you achieve yesterday? And we use the term of business and money because that's where our hands are right now. The hands are in the masa, you know what I mean? It's like, if it's mental health, if it's like, okay, I'm actively going to decide to be more stable today than I was yesterday. It's like, and how do you do that? You have to drill into it. In everything, you got to drill into it. It's like every time you have one negative thought, you have to give 3 good thoughts. You have to actively pursue whatever you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing with business. If you made $1 today, the goal is to make $2 tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And then $4 the next day. It's like, how do you do that? You have to drill. You have to pound pavement. However you have to do it.
Yeah, and something that I do, as Benji is very aware of, because we've been spending a lot of time working. But every day at around like 12:15, my phone goes off, and it's like an alarm that I have set for every day, and it just says, "What could I be doing better?" And it's just like a little reminder of like, have I not done enough yet today, or is there an opportunity that I haven't done yet? It's just a little quick reminder. So I do recommend doing that. I got that idea from somebody else, and I kind of just embraced it into my own life, and I've been doing that for like years now. But yeah, so that's something that I brought into practice.
It is awesome. We joke around about that alarm a lot, but there are days where we're like, no, we're maxed out. Like, today's going great. We're doing amazing.
We're doing awesome. Yeah.
And then there are other days where like we have absolutely done nothing at all today by 12:15, and it's like, no, we have to do something today.
Yeah.
And it's a wake up call.
That's it.
Be better than who you were today.
Make more money.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening to the Life Podcast. If you like the show, please rate us on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us out. If you feel like supporting us in a more direct way, you can check out our Patreon page linked in the description of this video. One last thing. Please let your friends know about the podcast. If you like the show, we're sure they'll like it too. If you'd like to reach out to us, send us an email at thelifepodcastshow@gmail.com. We appreciate all of your support, and we'll see you next time. Okay, now let's have a little bit more fun with that, Benji. I don't like to have fun, Eric.